I really want to take us back to the cave and let this act as a bit of a recap here, as we have the party here is reassembled. There's a huge snake, and boop. That's Jack. I mean, a celestial dire badger is about as close as I can come to a glowing blue fey fox. Not bad for an impromptu thing. However, the entity known as Jack was convulsing and not doing so well after it kind of flopped out of you here, Celine. And so this just seemed to be one more thing. You had a tough fight. Jacob died, but you were able to bring him back with some help of a bag of diamond dust that actually Jacob himself was able to go back to the monastery and get for you. It's just that there was a couple impurities that were in there because that bag of diamond dust was dropped by a bit of a clumsy helper in the ossuary. And this means that Jacob came back, he got some swings in, but now that you all are able to catch your breaths and find out just what the heck is going on, and even Jacob included, looking around, your attention was distracted by the flopping, blarging Jack, and we are going to have a cut from this moment. And by the way, because Jasper's gone, don't forget as well, you have a mostly dead insectoid fey convert that was riding on the back of Jasper that is also just sort of blorped onto the ground. And
to
is
Sunblade.
There. But I need to have I need to pull Investigator Jacob Stillwaters to the side for a moment, as we need to have a talk about his future. And so I would like all of you to come along with me to a somewhat familiar scene if you've been hanging around the old Mesomaskin campaign for the year and a half-ish that we've been running now. So Jacob was assaulted in this last-minute bum rush of these fey illusory creatures. If they're illusory, they sure were hurting like they were real.
He was certainly accosted, yes.
Yes. With the party throwing everything they could. Bright was bending reality and imposing her will on existence itself to save you. Everyone was scouring every last trick they had in every last book. If they had a book, or at least a book-like material. And unfortunately, Jacob Jacob got the old rip and tear.
Yep.
And this sent Jacob to a special place. A place of darkness. A place of unlimited horizontal planarity. I'll even just make up words that sound somewhat descriptive. Though there is a directionless spotlight shining from above, it's not casting a shadow, and you're not even sure if that's really above. But there's at least a light of some kind. And a feeling that this is someplace in between, someplace on the way. This is that moment between steps, except it's not the normal tiptoe through the tulips that you might have experienced before, Investigator. In one moment, there was blinding, fierce pain, and then suddenly a cool relief as darkness overwhelmed you, drowning out the cacophony of the shifting weird lights of the Fey Cave, the screams of battle, and the fearsome just moments that make you question who you are, what you're doing here or just in life. Because if things like this can exist, then why? Why? And our scene is going to pick up here with Jacob materializing in his broken form, and looking around.
Muted.
I am certainly muted. Maybe I don't have a voice. Maybe
that could be. If he doesn't have a voice, if you want to describe at least briefly, what is Jacob doing, if not saying anything in this time and place?
it's your time to go. It's your time to go. The truth of it is that it comes for us all. And I apparently have passed within doing my duty. I have always been a garrison guard and an investigator throughout my life. I have always protected the, civilian populace. This was bound to happen sometime. Maybe, just maybe, to whatever gods that would hear me, might be able to end up seeing my sister one last time before my spirit arrives in the hereafter. I suppose they say you see a light at the end of your life. And there's a light, most certainly. And so I follow it. Death has a dignity, all its own, and one to be respected. I don't tend to be kicking and screaming in the end.
You are processing this information. You are navigating. I mean, you're able to walk. It even feels like a solid floor. There's even a click of something solid. And off in the corner, in the square corner of this dome, again, what is dimensionality, geometry?
All these squares make a circle.
There
All these
is
squares make a circle.
There is a face that begins to form out of the darkness. And the darkness itself parts like black hair. And a faintly glowing green face, very familiar to you, that of your sister Jade, pushes forth from the darkness to peer down upon you.
Well, I guess old man like me can only hope to be so lucky to be able to see family. This journey began because I was looking for her. I bounced from town to town hoping to run into some kind of ties. Then the one time I did find my sister was, well, what she left behind was not items or a note, but people. People who are of questionable morality and guidance, but nevertheless, people she encountered and traveled with. I got to learn of her fate. Horrible end. I guess the regret is that we're both on the other side now. And that is also a comfort. Getting to see the loved ones you have one last time. We can only be so lucky.
You're having this moment again. You're processing this. You're reflecting, and the figure looks at you, and simply says, "Jacob, stop. I don't have much time. You need to make a choice."
What do you mean, choice?
You have to choose, Jacob. I am one of the choices. I'm not the only one. It's me. It's Jade. I have a moment for myself. I have a moment for you. Our times are different and our times are close, but our times are coming to an end. I can only communicate with you like this, in this way, for so long.
Speak quickly then, sister. Say what must be said.
You have a use yet, and while you have died, you haven't actually, not fully died, your spring has not sprung, your gear has not wound down. There's still something left. There is potential in you that can be tapped. And I can help unlock that potential. I'm not the only one.
Your family. He steps towards the visage, reaching out as though wanting to touch her one last time, to hold his little sister.
You reach out, and as you're walking towards Jade here, she only seems to stay static. You're walking, you hear the click-clack of your boots, though she stays the same distance away. And she's staring at you. And words seem to form on her mouth, but no sound comes. Though as she does speak, there is kind of a drip. A viscous something pours from her mouth and into a little puddle. And the puddle, almost like a living, wiggling tendril, starts making its way over until it gets to a point in proximity to you where it just can't seem to go any further. And it forms into just a little puddle here. You can't choose until you have a choice. And she hangs in the air in this. Her eyes are lucid and beautiful. They remind you of, springtime's, the first time you all got to wear your springtime clothing after the winter in Green Shield passed and you went out running through the pastures. These days, these halcyon days of joy and freedom. Her eyes convey this, but something, the green, the constant dripping, the teeth that almost look like they're like spinning gears in her gums as this viscous fluid is flowing down with a plop. And then, as she says, you cannot choose until you have a choice. there is a flash of color behind you.
I turn to meet it. What else comes to haunt me here?
And what manifests is the face of a beautiful woman, partially skeletonized, half on fire. Looking down at you with a look of compassion, observation, somewhat like perhaps how a doctor might view a patient. It's not that they don't care about the patient, but this certainly isn't the first time they've seen someone confused or in distress. She hangs like some kind of an arcane sun in the blackness here. And though she is partially skeletonized, she still contains a sense of, if not beauty, then at least peace. Jacob Stillwaters. Your work is not yet done. There is much you still have to do in the world from where you come.
Yeah, I can imagine so. My office will not allow rest. My duty in charge forever until I pass into the next world. That was the oath I ended up swearing to, and one I have upheld until my dying days. Is that not what I am facing here?
Your oath
My
can be
dying
preserved. This is your dying day, though it is not your day of death, or it does not have to be. I am ever hopeful to meet more who are willing to brave knocking at death's door. For those who have given all that they have and all that they are. I have come to offer you choice. If you so choose, I can bring you back. I can grip you and pull you back to the world of the living, the truly living, where your heart will beat in your chest, your oaths can be upheld, and air fills your lungs only to be violently screamed out in the midst of battle, or to seek control in settling unrest. I only need you to believe in me, to believe in who I am and what I do, so that together we're stronger, and you believe in us and what we do.
Oh, great and powerful Ouijas. I know of your work. Respect it greatly. I end up debating with one of your chosen quite frequently. I am grateful for the opportunity offered. I do wish to end up returning, to be able to end up enacting all of those things you promise. I would be a hand of God at that point. Such tempting offers. To be molded in the guise of death, in preservation of life. Oh, perhaps even acceptance out of spite, just to see the look on Celine's face. You tempt me so.
The fickle god didn't chuckle at that, but your DM did. You look to your sister. You look to the god. The whatever your sister can offer, you have a familial bond. Tempting, though, is the fact that this goddess of death herself has manifested as her not necessarily choosing you, but giving you the opportunity to choose her. You contemplate, you think, and one more voice joins in with the silent conversation that's been had. From a distance, echoing like someone running down a hallway, you hear like a clap, 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 like shoes on a marble echoing floor. And you hear, "Wait! Hold on! Hold on!" It sounds like a young woman's voice. And then a oof, oof! It sounds like someone has fallen and took a tumble. And kind of a, ow! Hold on! And a third image appears. And that is of it is of a young tiefling girl. Oh, sorry, Dark Wolf. I forgot to change the abbreviation to from T-Nora to Noralai. And she appears, while the others, I mean, these are otherworldly entities. But she appears to be even, like, insubstantial compared to them. She seems to flicker in and out. She has almost like a crystalline shine, as if you're holding something sparkling in the sunlight. She has a bit of a glimmer and a gleam. Hold on. I'm here. Can you see me? Hello? And she looks down.
I think it mostly has to do with the fact I'm worried about my cat rubbing up against my mic.
Okay. Hello, mister?
Yes, I can hear you. I can see you.
Oh.
Child of crystal.
Finally. Someone can. I've been following you, and I haven't been creepy. No, I haven't tried to be creepy. I've been following you, but I've really tried not to be creepy about it. I can't help it. I'm dead. I'm bones. I need help. If you can see me and interact with me, maybe you can help me. If you're gonna go back, maybe you can take me back.
Take you back?
Yeah, you're a policeman, right?
Yes.
You can help me find my brother. You can help me rescue him.
Find your brother. Who are you?
They didn't tell you?
I don't know your face.
Oh, maybe you'd know my face better if people are trying to use it to crush things. And like a celestial tear, like a star, just like forms on her cheek and rolls down and kind of boo goes off like a shooting star across the blackness.
Noralai?
Yeah, that's me. I'm Noralai.
Who's your brother? Quickly, I get the impression we don't have a lot of time.
Lokiadius. He looks like me, except he's not exactly like me. He's my big brother. He has horns, a tail. He's a tiefling.
Gathered. Tiefling. Anything else? Would have any idea where would he last been located? Will I remember any of this?
Just take. I don't know. Just take me with you, please. And the tears. And the tears start falling down as this young girl's asking you for help. And as they do, they form kind of a little pool. As none of these things can quite seem to reach you. And while one is drooling, one is like burning, and the other's crying, all three with their voices in unison, choose me, choose me, choose me. But of course, Investigator, being a man who searches for clues, who cases places for criminal activity, for where people can hide, for ingress and egress. You are surrounded, mostly. However, there is also behind you a door that, now that you're looking around for it, you could simply choose to walk through it. The door is interesting, though, because it does have a mirror at head height upon it. And when you turn to face it, you yourself are upon the door, though nothing seems to be leaking out of you.
He looks at his decisions. But he spurn a god to end up here assisting to an aid. Does he turn his back on a little girl who is clearly in plight? Does he turn his back on family in order to serve a higher purpose? Does he turn his back on everything in order to continue the mission? It feels like forever when he is inside here, but the truth is that his decision has already been made from the moment when he walked in. He can aid in this great work. He does not need the help of Wee Jazz. Wee Jazz is with him because he walks by her hand every step of this journey. He has the information he needs to end up assisting Nornai to end up getting her brother out of near harm's way. But he's come too far now to turn his back on family. He makes his choice and steps forward.
Okay. As they could only reach so far, it has been Jacob's choice to go to them. And where they had failed to reach you, you cannot fail to reach them. By the power of your will and your decision, your conviction, your reason, your logic, even your emotion. And so, Jacob, you step into the green puddle. And as you do, it pools around you. There's a connectedness. And you look up to your sister Jade, and she looks down. She goes for a smile, then suddenly you see she kind of giving you like blowing a remote kiss to you or something as her lips go like so. And suddenly this strand of drool tightens around your feet like a metal wire snare. You fall and you are drug along the ground as you are getting slurped up like a spaghetti noodle into Jade's mouth. It opens and it just distends. You see where her teeth should be are just churning gears, all like drawing you in like a reel on a fishing line. And
mistakes were made. Mistakes were made.
You're flailing in this cinching drool. You're drawn up into the gears, and there's a thank you, which is sweet and pleasant, like that springtime day. And then there's blackness and falling and churning, and we come to you waking up with Celine's skeletal hand upon you. The last remnants of some sort of glittery fog in the air. There's a battle to fight. You get up, you get your punches in. The group is getting worn down. Things are happening. There's this extra dimensional space which is collapsing. Just things are happening too fast. Spells, shouts, movement, monsters everywhere. And then it's over. And you all find yourselves back in a very familiar watery tunnel. And one more, because there's always one more thing. Especially when you're trying to get something done, there's one more thing. You go to catch your breath. All of you are, there's this adrenaline rush. There's all, or the equivalent for you, Mordecai, because you're on a whole different type of high right now. And Celine kind of keels over. This blue entity pours out of her and says something about the Fomorians and Orlans, and is seemingly just battered and blarged. And Jack does not seem to be moving any further. And this has now caused concern and questions, as everyone has, well, not necessarily everyone, but has come over to investigate, leaving Jacob, you're behind. Though, of course, there's a giant constrictor snake that's just kind of jamming out next to you here. But everyone has their attention turned onto Jack, the blue fey fox. Of course, you can make your way up to take a look too if you want, or you could just lay back in the cool water, let it course over you, because this is... everything just happened, and it didn't, and it did. But with the scene set, Jacob, I will let you make the first move or word, and then we will pick up where we had left off last week with a concerned party around a frenemy. I think that's a way that you could describe Jack to the party, a frenemy. And we'll go from here. So, Jacob, here you are. What are you doing?
I am feeling a little disjointed. I'm still coming to grips with what is claimed to be happening. Brought back decisions. But everybody's concern is clearly towards the thing. They call it Jack. Well, an investigator's work's never done.
Yeah. Tomorrow night.
All right. So
Yes, tomorrow night.
you're going to walk through the tunnel over to the group?
Yes.
Okay. As Jacob is regaining senses and you know, feeling disjointed, getting up, and resolving to come over, group on Jack. What are you saying or doing as you are around this now limp, not dissipated, but a very limp fey creature? And remember too, there's also your prisoner down here, which is also very limp.
Are you okay? Taps with his.
I look to Celine to make sure she's okay. Are you alright?
So Celine is both concerned and horrified, and that was kind of painful, but I'm just more confused.
Right. Yeah.
Like that hurt. It wasn't as much as the egg, but it hurt, and
I looked to Jack for a minute.
Jack isn't moving or saying anything.
Is he breathing?
No. But arguably he's never breathed?
Do Faye die?
Of course they do.
They can. If it bleeds, you can kill it, but cure wounds? Question mark?
Okay. You want to try casting Cure Wounds?
Yeah, on Jack.
Okay. It does not go off. There is no target.
Oh yeah, no, he dead.
Oh.
And I don't have more diamonds. Not for something like that anyway.
And
I've
that's
got-
when I kind of turned around to look to Jacob.
Well, you don't have to turn too far, as you actually hear behind you. You are the perception monkey of the group here. As there's through the water, kind of the plip 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 of steps, and coming around the corner where you're at is. Oop. Why is this not? Why is that not doing the thing? Huh. Whoops.
Allow me.
Okay, yep. Sorry if I was... if we're hitting keys at the same time and I was baffling the process.
No, it's all good. I am resetting right now.
Oh, maybe that's what it needs to be. All right, well, everyone, we're on a bit of a cliffhanger here.
Yeah.
Coming around the corner is...
Drum roll.
Drum roll. Let's see if it works now. No, it still wants to upload that. Let me check library.
You can try removing the current tokens.
I did. That's the weird part.
I mean the ones on the map.
Including this one.
Yeah, you remove both of them.
Ah.
that could be it.
Yeah, try removing both of those and then doing the thing upon the thing.
Drama. Suspense.
All right, I've wiped Jacob out. He's off the map.
No,
Nope.
it's still not doing that. Huh.
Okay,
That's really weird.
Maddie?
Yes.
Try re-uploading the new token.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's
Yeah,
see.
try re-uploading the new token and set that to the default video. What you could do is, Maddie, if you've got a copy of the token, you try and drag
There
a
we
copy
go.
of the token.
I don't have access to be able to change the default token. That's why.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, because you to change the default token, you need to drag the token onto the map and then set from there.
So drag the old one out?
First,
Drag
remove the old
the
token.
new one out. strike the new one out, and then Derek needs to. You need to give control of it to Derek, and then Derek needs to be able to select it and then change the default token, because you can only change the default token to things that are actually on the tabletop.
All right, so there's that, and then what? I
So
right-click
delete
and
delete first the token and the default token. You'll actually see remove in the corner.
On the character sheet,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Earning
Delete-
roll 20.
Delete both.
okay.
We're educational.
So,
Yeah.
Delete both out of both boxes, yeah.
yeah. So on the field and all that. So you see on how it still says, yep, remove. There you go. Now when I do this, try it now.
Hey! There we go. We're fixing it live, everyone. All right. Mordecai.
And then you get to that as your default token now, Derek.
Coming around the corner. And Derek, you can move your token here. We have it fixed. Coming around the corner with the same. I mean, you're used to that step cadence. You're used to the sound of Jacob's boots on the stone in the water. It still sounds the same, though. Kind of squatting down and looking at this helpless creature is.
What you see, at least visually, the armor's the same, though it's crafted for a different figure. It's a woman whose face is very familiar. Tattoos that go along the side of her face, very familiar one. It's Jade. Jade's face.
Jade?
They kind of look to you. Why would you bring that up here?
What?
She,
Uh,
they walk over to the figure. What's happened?
How
Yes.
how are you here?
Do you guys know this person?
It's difficult to explain, Casimir.
Wait.
I'll fill you
Wait.
in on the details later.
Hold on. Did you take Jacob?
I'm right here, Mordecai. Hello.
No. The truth is a lot more trippy than that. That is you, right, Jacob? Investigator Jacob Stillwaters, right?
Yes.
Can't be, right?
But
Yeah?
that doesn't.
You,
That doesn't make sense.
Selena has a little mirror in her bag, and she had a I was like, you might want to take a look.
Grabbing hold of the mirror, looking at it. I'm assuming it's a steel mirror. It's not going to drop break when he drops
Yeah,
it.
no, it's a steel mirror.
Kind of drops it and just takes a step back and starts palming at his face. Starts,
Yeah.
hair. What?
Okay.
What the-
Okay. Something.
The fuck?
Something must have happened with the Revivify.
What do you mean? What something happened with the Revivify?
I didn't think
I
that.
don't know whether. I don't know. Jacob, you were the one who got me that diamond dust. It was diamond dust you got me, right? Did anything happen to it? Like, did anything happen to the components,
is this-
or I didn't screw up casting the spell? I know that much.
I got
Was it
exactly
fake?
what you ended up requesting.
Yeah.
To the best of my ability.
Was there a Fae? Did the Fae do this? Was it Fae screwery? Because if so, I mean, we can deal with that, but
There was wild magic earlier.
But you look like Jade.
I get that.
You,
Deputy here, Silverleaf, you can see that this person starts to walk around for a minute, like, just thinking, okay, what happened here?
Do you have her memories or something? Is she possessing you?
no.
What?
Obviously not, Mordecai. If he was being possessed, we'd be seeing a lot more trippy stuff right about now. Trippier than this.
Is that possible?
Investigator, silver lining, you've become very pretty.
That was not the time for
Not
that,
now.
Celine.
Not now, silly.
I
Not
mean, I
now.
can't disagree.
I'm just trying to diffuse the situation. What? This doesn't happen! This doesn't happen, and you're looking at me like, oh, not the time. It's not the time for this either! But we're here, aren't we?
What in the hell?
Yeah,
Kind
that's a very good question. That's a very, very good question. I wish I knew the answer. I don't.
You're the one who cast the spell. What happened?
It all works fine.
This is why
Well, clearly
we
not.
do not trust in magic in an investigative capacity.
Precisely.
This wasn't in an investigative capacity. I literally brought you back to life. What is investigative about that?
Unreliability.
Bright speaks up. Well, magic can help, I suppose. It might be a little late after the fact, but my identify spell did tell me about that orb in the crystal.
Does
Oh, what?
that
That's
have
wonderful.
anything to do with this current?
It might be
Oh, but-
connected. My identify spell told me that it's a magic trap.
Magic trap.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's... Well,
Well, that
yeah.
explains a lot.
What kind of a trap?
The kind that we just went through, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, triggered it by casting magic on it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
That's great.
Don't die.
No, dying.
You don't have enough magic diamond dust for it.
No, I don't.
Also, you're the only one who can cast
Okay,
it.
Mm-hmm.
let me see if I understand this correctly. Let's just take a moment.
It just seems weird because you're just talking in her voice too, and it's very not
That's what I got.
gibberish.
That's a topic for another time, Deputy here, Silverleaf.
Right.
But for now, I'm going to have to end up grabbing. He's not. They're not sure at this point. It would be appropriate, and kind of looks in the mirror. Okay. Let's just assume, for the sake of argument right now, that this is a temporary situation, and we will endeavor to end up going to focus on the more important aspects, which would be the... Jack, is that the appropriate...
Right.
All right. I go over to Jack. I'm going to try and see what it is I can figure out of this individual or what might have happened. So it's something about fomorians, yes?
You're right. Fomorians and Orlans.
Fomorians, Orlans, okay. Orlans, that big serpent thing made of mining equipment you described
Yeah,
earlier?
the dragon shaped.
Okay, fantastic. All right, we're getting somewhere. What would that have to do with... Do you think they may have gotten to Orlans?
If they had, wouldn't this place have dissipated? Is this an illusion? Have we even
Perhaps.
determined that yet?
I don't know. There's too many variables right now, Mr. Here, Deputy here, Silverleaf. I am going to try and end up coming up with something here. In which case, Stillwaters goes and, well, tries to figure this out, be it medical, investigation, perception, whatever it might be.
Well,
Mordecai is just taken aback and is kind of giving Stillwaters faith.
it's going to be a bit of a Hail Mary for you, Jacob, but I'm going to need an Arcana from you. And you do... I don't know if you want to invoke it, but Raz just gave you a +1.
I will hold off on that moment for now.
Okay. All right. It's magical. Unfortunately, this is not your forte. Things are stressful right now. There's probably some kind of link, as Jack has described himself as kind of an envoy from Orlans. The circumstances about Celine were that Orlans kind of deposited Jack onto Celine during their initial encounter. So there's some kind of link between Jack and Orlans, which could very well relate that if Jack was able to speak or send information back to Orlans, as that's what Orlans was doing, was calling Celine's bluff. When Celine's like, oh, humans are great, you should not kill us all, blah, blah, blah. And Orlans is like, fine, prove it. And made Celine be the bearer of Jack. Well, if something's happening to Orlans, that's probably affecting Jack. But as for the type of, anything else, yeah, actually, you know what? While unfortunately, everyone, due to some technical issues, while we don't have a fluffy sheep in voice or camera, we do have, or rather, I have a Bright character sheet as well, and Bright is pretty good at this stuff. And so what I will do is I will roll. Pardon. With advantage, getting some help here. With her own experiences about Peggy Sue, and of course, just a big old gnome tear, just like forms and just hangs for a second on her cute little rosy cheek before bloop, plooping down into the water, because Peggy Sue unfortunately was also blarged in that fight. In a sense, he must act. She's going into some, the arcane version of technobabble. And so she's going over the span, the communication, the shared, existence force that's coapulated by the whatevers, and she just sort of goes into theory while she's also misting up, thinking of Peggy Sue. But she kind of clears her mind and smiles and looks at you all and says, it's probably the fact that, yeah, Orlans is probably in trouble. If it has to do with the Fomorians, well, I don't get beat up when Peggy Sue gets beat up, not in the same way, but it could be Jack is an extension of Orlans, and if Orlans itself is being hurt, then Jack is being hurt. And Jack is the one who was able to give us this kind of rejuvenation. If you remember before, we made Jack laugh, and he gave us this energy because we're in this place that's controlled by Orlans, and Jack is the extension. I don't know if we're going to get a chance to catch our breaths. Magically speaking, of course.
I could always throw up the dome. If
We don't have time.
I don't
If
know.
Bright is right, then if Bright is right, we don't have time to rest.
I don't even know if that
like it.
works.
We need to go, and now.
And do what exactly? What? We're finding fomorians, right? That's what we're looking for?
Yeah.
Then let's go find the fomorians.
Find Orlans. We find Orlans, we find the fomorians.
If they're all still alive.
Well, I mean, we can only hope.
What if they're not, Celine?
Then I don't know. Frankly speaking, I wouldn't have come here if I had known about Grenhilda beforehand. Thank you for filling me in on that, by the way.
What? I don't know anything about Grimhilda. What are we talking about?
Grimhilda showed up at the fires.
I don't.
Yeah.
I wasn't there for that. I don't think.
Yeah. No, she showed up at the fires, and Wright said something to Selena about it. It's like, what the hell are we doing here? We can't go back now because we'll go back through all the fucking traps that we just triggered. But
hopefully, there's an exit at the end.
Yeah, let's hope.
Okay, we should probably not spend much of our reserves then.
Casimir, your snake has been kind of slowly moving up and is kind of sniffing at this incapacitated, tied up insectoid fey.
Don't eat that. It's not good for you.
Closes its mouth slowly.
Do we at least want to take an hour?
We can't take an hour. We don't have an hour. Trust me, if we did, I would be more than happy to. Truly, I would.
Then those little boosts that you get from me aren't gonna happen.
I know. We're gonna have to make do.
I would assume then that...
I mean, just seeing you gives me a boost, so...
If Orlans is in trouble and Celine believes that the purging of the entire Fae would end up assisting, that would imply he is at least within arm's reach right now and perhaps manageable. Perhaps it is possible with the current situation to capitalize on this point of weakness.
That is...
Right. That sounds really weird coming from that voice.
That sounds exceptionally uncharacteristic of you, Investigator. But then again, considering your current condition, I can say that you're probably not feeling the best. So it's fine. Let's...
At this point, I am only concerned with saving further lives.
Oh yeah, let's save our own first before we can save the other. So we can save the other. Sound good? Sound good. We good? Let's go.
And Mordecai pulls ahead in the front and starts leading everyone towards the one direction where we're supposed to go.
Okay.
Celine pulls out her shield and sunblade, ready for war, pretty much.
What are you doing with your prisoner?
I'm thinking we should end him. Like, genuinely, he's probably in a lot of pain if he's not already dead, you know, from his injuries, because we didn't do anything about that.
Why were we hanging on to him in the first place?
Because one of you said that it would be better to show Orlans that, you know, we're not all savages, but as I said from the outset, they're not worthy of that kind of compassion. They wouldn't show it to us, so why would we show it to them?
We haven't run across them yet, Celine. How do you know they wouldn't?
Did they show it to the people in Browbeat?
At this point, one way or another, we're not getting answers staying here debating about it.
That's exactly right. So, I'm gonna very quickly go over and check the Bay prisoner, see if he's still alive.
Because if we want, I could I can resummon Jasper.
We can probably just put him on Snake. He can carry
Or
him.
that. Or that.
Sure, let's put him on the snake. Put him on the snake and we'll let the snake carry him.
Fantastic.
Remember, do not eat.
The snake once more looks a little disappointed, but will allow you to tie the prisoner to its, I'd say to its back, but I mean, let's be
To
real.
it.
It's to it. To its someplace. All right, so Casimir, you're gonna have to be the one who does that, but it will abide by your command and stay still and not eat the captive. The captive is as alive as, I mean, it does have some more traditional life signs because while it has been converted to this insectoid fey state, it still is mostly medium-sized humanoid. With processes that were, its hosts, or however they do this. But yeah, it's very weak, because if you recall, it was crushed under a fomorian during a battle, and you had to like pry it out, you had to pull it out. You stabilized it, but yeah, it wasn't restored properly. But okay, so now what about the body of Jack?
It's small.
It's evidence.
Oh. Slide it onto my back, I guess. It's a small thing, so I can do that.
Well, to be fair, you have been carrying him for a good portion of this journey. You might as well carry him a little further.
Yeah. Yeah, sure, let's go with that.
Okay, so you're gonna look like a humpback as you kind of have Jack. You're like carrying Jack.
I'd say I'd stuff him in my pack, but that's a bit of a bit of an oof.
Okay. And from here, you all continue to go up the down staircase as the water continues to flow up as you go down, even though you're going up and forward. But you also swear you've passed by that rock before. This is such a weird place.
And I wish to be out of it as soon as possible. Thank you.
Mordecai is kind of looking a little bit like he doesn't know what to do when he looks at Jacob/Jade.
He looks at the investigator.
Spit it out, Mordecai.
Your face is Jade's.
So it would appear.
And she and I didn't get along.
Fantastic. I'm so glad to end up learning that nature of that relationship.
Celine just pipes up and is just like, Mordecai, he's probably more shocked than you are at this revelation.
That would be an accurate assessment, Priestess. As it stands right now, I'm trying to keep my mind on the task in order to not end up being overwhelmed by a million questions that are going to just get more and more awkward the more I think about it.
Right. Trying not to be awkward.
Oh, I think we can't avoid that particular statement.
Yeah, no, we've passed the point of no return on that one.
Yes. But, as it stands, we are currently in a situation where I am going to need to have a bit of an adjustment period into this, and hopefully this will go away the moment we end up exiting out of this cave. So, there's that bit of an experiment I am all too eager to end up here finding out on.
Yes.
Right. So I just don't want to make things awkward, and I'm sorry if I am. It's just weird. Moving on.
I will return to that when I've had more than a few drinks and the ability to process exactly on how this ends up fundamentally changing a lot of things that I'm going to need to end up having.
Okay. This is going to sound even more awkward, but if it turns out that you've, changed biologically, please let me know so that I may give you a crash course in womanhood.
I'm not even going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. Keeping going.
I don't think that's in your inventory. You got to show me it's in your inventory if you're going to.
Mordecai dropped your pants.
What?
It's like, no, I don't need to see it. Just let me know if it's changed, and I'll tell you what you need to know.
You're having...
I'm good with not seeing it.
Yeah. No. Mordecai said he's not touching it with the 10-foot pole. And Matty asked for if it's in the inventory. So I said, Mordecai, drop your pants.
Heyo. Well,
You don't know. You don't know.
The trudge is somber, the trudge is awkward, and there's also just that point of, despite the stress, resources are low, questions are hanging in the air, there's a discomfort, there's still this moment of laughter. There's still this moment where for this second, joy was still able to creep into your hearts. And wouldn't you know, when that occurs, ahead, and seemingly where the water has been coming from the whole time, is a watery portal.
If that's a leaving portal, I suggest we take it right now.
Well, since we don't know what it is, allow me to end up going first. I don't feel any weaker.
We'll all go at once.
Oh, yes, because all of us jumping into what could potentially be a portal to the bottom of the sea would be a fantastic idea, Mr. Silverleaf. I can see on why it is that you did not take investigation as a profession.
I'm an entertainer.
Yes, so entertain me for a moment and at least end up watching someone else go through so you don't end up screaming at the end of the day, wishing that you had air to breathe. I'd rather only one of us go.
I don't breathe.
Actually,
by all means, send the corpse in.
Mordecai?
I'll go first.
Oh. All right, Mordecai is asserting dominance over Stillwaters here. Unless both of you want to race for it or something. All right. Boop boop boop. This is actually, for some reason, it's making the page chug for me, so it's still there, but I deleted it because it's slowing things down. All right, Mordecai asserts himself, boop, goes through the portal. Stillwaters, following suit.
Come on, guys. And we'll drag them all through. I'll head through next. And with Jack, and then I guess Casimir can come up the rear with the snake human.
Snake and prisoner. And then Bright's probably gonna hesitate for a moment. Though, of course, all of you are passing through, or Casimir, anyone, do you have anything you want to say or do before that happens? Mordecai disappears, and you don't hear anything or see anything beyond the portal.
I'm not hearing any screaming, so that's a good sign.
Well, in for a penny.
Okay.
Stelline murmurs something along the lines of "in for a pound," but a lot more innuendo based before passing through the portal.
Casimir and friends?
Just gonna go through.
And that leaves little Bright. Bright, who has had her optimism challenged, has certainly been in a pinch, has been upset, and through it all, has tried her hardest to maintain composure and a smile. Perhaps when Fluffy is able to give us a voice or a moment with no one else around, no conjured animals, no prisoners, no one else. Maybe this little gnome might have something to say, or even something to just stomp and scream and need to let out. Of course, after making sure that no sound actually did carry through the portal. As she would do. And then she walks through. And as you are appearing, there is a scene before you. As some distance away, this isn't set up to do a very good perspective, but some distance away from the watery portal through which you walked, there are 3 giants, disfigured, kind of lumpy, still massive, that are beating on a blue glowing dragon? Something in the shape of a dragon. As it is seemingly pinned or thrown, maybe depending on the crystals it's been impaled on, like spikes to hold. As the fomorians, these vengeful giants, have encountered Orlans, the presumed leader of the Fae, and seem to be taking their anger out on the creature. The cavern is vast. It has pillars going to the ceiling, crystals growing at its base, providing a little bit of meager light in this otherwise dark cavern. And you haven't been noticed. Or if so, neither have chosen to address you. But here, we are going to get up and take a little stretch. And when we come back, I can let you in on a little bit of perhaps what is said, depending on the languages you speak. And you will get to interact with this scene in some way. And how it's been presented in this cliffhanger. So, for all of you out there in the audience, you are welcome to take a break, stretch, get a snack and a drink. And we'll be back in about 10 minutes or so, enough to maybe eat a little salsa or something. And when we come back, how is the Chroma Company going to intercede, if at all, with this feud between vengeful fomorians and the Fae that have been apparently responsible for their banishment from the world?